If I think back to where I was 2 years ago, I think to the day, I think 2 years ago is when I started this podcast, or the concept of what was going to be this podcast. And in case I haven't explained the history before of the title, I have been on ADHD medication on and off my whole life. And there was an Adderall shortage because I was taking Adderall, and they prescribed me Vyvanse, and that made me feel like I was going crazy. There's a whole section of TikTok that is dedicated to loving Vyvanse, and I don't get it. I'm super sensitive to all kinds of medications and all kinds of things in my life, probably because I've been on medication on and off my whole life. But Vyvanse did not jive with me, and I was feeling a type of way, and I was like, I want to start a podcast, and everybody was like, what? And I was like, I want to start an ADHD podcast. I started it, and I just started rambling. And I think my energy 2 years ago was a little more chaotic than it is now. But even back then, I found like podcasting, or whatever you call it, just talking on camera and talking with other people on camera, to be super cathartic. And I fell in love with it. And I've tried a whole bunch of things on this channel, and since I've technically started this podcast, and it's been such a fun journey. But all of that to say, that's what started the Off My Meds podcast name. That, and the fact that everything else under the sun that I could think of was taken as a podcast name, because everybody and their fucking mom has a podcast. But Off My Meds, no one seemed to want to take. And I was like, I will gladly take this name all day. My dad, who I got my ADHD from, used to always say, you know, if he was at a restaurant and somebody said the specials and he was like, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening, I'm off my meds, it usually got a laugh out of people. But it was also a nice little excuse for him to get his ADHD way. And so it's kind of an homage to him. I don't know that he knows that. I don't even know if he knows I have this podcast. I don't think he cares. So shout out to dad, shout out to mom. But yeah, it is a very fitting name, because today's topic fits right into that. To finish off, or at least hopefully, maybe I can get 2 more episodes out of this. I don't know. But this is definitely one of the ones that I wanted to mark as something for Off My Meds May. That is a very important topic for me. And I'm hoping that if you are watching this and you are not sure in your ADHD journey if medication is right for you or if stimulants are right for you, stay tuned and watch, because I've had both experiences in my lifetime, and I think both have their benefits and their downfalls. And I will just say, as a precursor, I am not your fucking doctor. Please seek help if you really want some answers on whether or not you think medication is right for you. I am just talking about this from a perspective of somebody that has been on medication since she was literally 4 years old, which, when I think about it as an adult, don't know if that was the right move. I grew up around a time where ADHD was just starting to be used as a term in doctor's office and psychiatrist's offices, and medication was being heavily pushed by the pharmaceutical industry. And it's the way it was. And I think it wasn't super normalized. It wasn't really talked about. ADHDers were always kind of viewed to be odd and weird, which I'm glad that there's a resurgence of people talking about it on podcasts and on TikToks and on Instagrams, and there's whole communities dedicated to it, because I don't think or buy into that narrative at all. But fuck it, we're just gonna set this timer. We're gonna live 5 minutes to tell my backstory. Let's see if we can do this. I was somebody with a very particular type of ADHD that a lot of people couldn't handle or regulate. And still to this day, I think I get weird looks from people who maybe aren't familiar with neurospicy or neurodivergent people. I experienced it last week. There were people that on first glance, in the first 5 minutes of meeting somebody, it's great. And then once they get to know me, something changes in them. And it's again, the rejection sensitivity dysphoria goes crazy, but I've learned to just not take things so personally. But I notice that people wonder if I'm on coffee, like how many cups of coffee I've had during the day, and like why I'm talking so fast and why my energy is so up. And it's like, this has literally been my digital genetic makeup since I was a child. I cannot fucking fix it. I won't fix it at this point. I have no desire to fix it. This is my personality and I'm sticking to it, and like, hit it or quit it. It's not something that I really, really harp on too much anymore. 5 minutes backstory, 5 minutes backstory, 5 minutes backstory. Growing up all the way until I think junior high school. I think it was after NEDS. I went off medication for NEDS. And this is where I think some people are going to be like, ooh, little juicy story here. I found that medication was great for academics. It was great for me in school, not so great in social circles to make friends or with my acting. I am just a natural focuser when it comes to acting and auditions and reading and writing scripts and storytelling. Like, that is all creative. And so it falls into my creative wheelhouse. I'll read scripts all day. I will read fictional stories all day. But when it comes to academics, I struggle because, like reading a dense history book is just, it's not the fun part of my brain. It's the regimented part of my brain that just can't somehow seem to sit the fuck still. And so from the time I think it was 5 until 7th or 8th grade, so right before NEDS, I was on medication, and that was Ritalin, Adderall. I tried everything under the sun. I probably by will have forgotten the names of most of the stimulants that I was on because I could never find the right dose. I could never find the right amount of medication that made me focus and not be a zombie. Made me focus and not be a weirdo, made me focus and still have friends. And I think in junior high, that's where it started to really get uncomfortable for me because all the fun parts of my personality were seemingly taken away by medication. And so in an attempt to figure out if I could have a normal ADHD life on just natural herbal supplements, came up with a combination of supplements that really worked for me. Now, I have talked to a lot of other parents, colleagues that are parents who have children that are going through this right now. And I know a lot of people whose children are on stimulants or medication and are hiding their pills because they don't want to go through what I just mentioned I went through. And I will say, it is totally doable to go the natural herbal supplemental route. The problem is, and I think where I really had to work hard on the supplements was taking them twice a day. And I think the first 2 weeks for anything, whether it's medications or supplements or just like a new morning routine, 2 weeks for everything. Just give it 2 weeks. And I think the hardest part as a hyperactive ADHD child was, fuck, man, I hate this thing. Do I continue? I think the hardest part as a hyperactive ADHD child was having a regimen in taking my supplements and I'll show you the amount of supplements that I take, or at least I try to, even as a 36-year-old adult, and I'm not perfect at it. But I will say, in the times that I am taking them regularly, they are helping me so much in my life. And it's just, as I talk about giving yourself grace and not having panic and not having that overactive, activated brain that's worrying all the time and just always overstimulated, all of the supplements that I've taken over my life, or at least the natural ones, have just helped quiet that noise a little bit. And so I give the caveat of like, I've been on and off medication because I don't want anybody to think that I'm off medication right now and be like, this bitch is a total fraud. She's selling me all these supplements and she's not even off it. I am trying to wean off of it. It has been, so I stopped and I did natural supplements from 7th and 8th grade through right before, well, I took the LSAT the first time. So when I was 20, so for over 10 years, I was on natural supplements and I loved it. I was able to work. I did fine in school. I did great in college, and college was fucking easy. I'll just say that much. Like, college was a breeze because I could make my own schedule and do my own work on my own time. It wasn't like I had to sit still in a class for 8 hours a day if I didn't want to. It wasn't until I took the LSAT, and this goes to the standardized testing that I talked about in my last episode. I couldn't take the LSAT for the life of me. Like, I took it, but when it got to big blurbs of reading, I couldn't get past the first line on my reading comprehension. Like, I couldn't. There was some bitch crying in the one of the rooms that I took it in, and then some dude blowing his nose and another dude tapping his pencil on the table, and I was like, yo, there isn't a world in this galaxy that would allow me to get past this first line with these people and their nervous tics right now. Like, I just can't do it. And so I went back on Adderall, and I will say, well, first of all, I had to like up my dosage in a short period of time because you develop such a high tolerance to it that I was taking, and I've since decreased it by half, by more than half, actually. I was taking 220 milligrams a day of the extended release, which is insane if you know what that dosage is. And I do feel like I was able to get through law school, thankfully. Like, it served its purpose. But I tell this to everybody, like, I really think it did such a number to my nervous system long term that I don't know that I could recommend it to anybody. And like, I hate saying that because I'm currently actively, because I've been on it for so long, working to wean myself off. And that part's really hard. Like, with my body dysmorphia and like worrying about what I look like, weaning off of it is like, I'm worried about gaining weight and, you know, being lethargic. I think that's the biggest one, is the chronic fatigue that comes with like not even going completely off my meds, just halving my dose. But I got past that part, and now I'm at a point where I need to decrease it a little bit more, and I'm terrified because I've been on it for 13 years. That's a long time to be on medication. Now, I will say, before we get, like, this isn't meant to be very dark, I just feel the need to be fully transparent in my medication journey because, like I said, I tried to go to Vyvanse, and that was a nightmare. That one made me... Vyvanse didn't make me focus. I got tired and I was double cranky. And that's the thing about meds that I don't know if people talk about enough with ADHD stimulants, because I'm super sensitive to all kinds of medications. I'm sensitive to alcohol. I'm super sensitive to substances. Like, my body processes things very sensitively. It's why I don't do drugs. Like, I try to limit my alcohol, but I'm not perfect. And like, the only thing I really do, and even that I've limited severely, and I hate to fucking say it, is the only thing I felt like got me through the last 4 years. So I'm not going to shit on it too much, but I will say taking a break from it helped immensely. But I will say, in addition to all of the meds that I've been taking, I should reset this timer because I know now I've been rambling. I've been taking the supplements in addition to weaning off the Adderall. And I'm hoping and I'm thinking that I can somehow now kind of cross over with each other until I can finally wean off. But my hope is that in addition to taking the stimulants, the supplements have helped me so much in my overall feeling of that like angsty, that like teeth biting, like angst that I feel that the Adderall gives me. The supplements have helped cool it off a little bit. And so I don't remember what my fucking point was. Oh, the upsides and downsides of each. Obviously, the upside with a stimulant is you're focused. You're doing your shit. You're getting everything you want done. And like, I know some people would like be like, you don't eat on it. And I feel like I have to force myself to eat. And I know I am not productive unless I eat. And so, but I also feel like the hunger issue fades really fast because you build up such a tolerance to the Adderall. Like, I don't even really feel my Adderall anymore. And that's a thing that was hard to explain to people in like law school, especially other classmates who try to like buy my Adderall off of me. And I'm like, bitch, I need this. Also, we're graded on a curve. Go fuck yourself. Go get it from the dealer. I need these. And the thing is, I could tell who didn't need the Adderall because they acted a certain way. Whereas somebody like me who takes a stimulant, I just get normal. I get a little more calm, to be honest. I am not as all over the place in my brain and externally. I'm always a mess. Like externally, I'm always kind of messy, but for the most part, my brain always kind of just like hones in. Versus I know people who take it recreationally and they go berserk, like cracked out. They've like cracked out energy, and that's just not, I don't feel like that's ever been me. I get a little bit irritable on stimulants, and that's one of the downsides. There's a lot of downsides with stimulants, and I feel like people should know them, especially if they're putting their kids on them, because I've had a life of them, and I feel like it's taken me so long to have to rewire my brain and re-regulate my nervous system. And it has taken so much more work as an adult than I feel like it could have been to just be on natural supplements as a child and learn how to work on managing my ADHD when I was younger. Now, I think for law school, that's a whole other separate conversation. EDB said it today. She said, I feel like there's so many ADHDers make amazing lawyers. And I agree with that 100%. I feel like there's an out of the box thinking that you need as a lawyer, as a litigator, that ADHDers just have. It's pattern recognition. It's also finding the problems. It's a problem solving thing, as I talked about in one of my other episodes, finding the problem in the room and reading the room well, reading energies well. I feel like ADHDers just can make amazing lawyers. The problem I have is that I feel like law school and the legal profession as a whole just is not conducive to people with ADHD or just neurodivergence in general. Every time I get on a flow, this thing starts beeping at me. I had it and then I didn't. So all right, 10 minutes and we're done. Then we're just going to wrap this episode. And the whole point was that I'm supposed to watch the timer, and I haven't been watching the timer. I've just been flowing. I feel like the legal profession is not conducive to people who think like me, because it is a system that is based on billing a whole bunch of money by the 10th of the hour, and you have to be productive all the time. And there's no fluff room. There's no padded room for you to literally think, gather your thoughts, which if you're an ADHDer, that is what we do by nature, is we need a little extra time to gather our thoughts and get in focus. And it also wasn't my experience. So I think it would be hard for me to say how you can do it, but I will say I know people that have done it, have done law school, not on stimulants, who have had ADHD. Now, I will say that comes with the caveat of, I hope you have accommodations, but the accommodations talk comes on another foundation, which I have not talked about yet, which is if you are somebody that has a kid in school who has ADHD, get your kids accommodations. And if you're in the state of California, it's fairly easy. It is fairly cost effective. And I feel like if you are able to schedule a doctor's appointment anywhere, you should be able to at least get the process started. Because if you get the process started early, all this stuff on the back end becomes a lot easier. And for me, law school accommodations became easy for taking the bar, which I think is the biggest hurdle if you are somebody that struggles with testing. Like I said, that's going to be a whole other episode. Let me know if you want one on that. I have been trying so hard to get somebody that is an expert on ADA, ADHD accommodations for schools. No one's responding to me. So we'll get there when we get there. And if anybody knows anybody that knows about 504s or accommodations in general for school, please hit me up. I would love to have you on because I think you could help a lot of people realize that they can get additional help in school. And it can be as simple as something like I got a note taker in law school. I never used it. And that's the thing is I had the accommodations, but some of them I just didn't use. And one of them was because I'm so shitty at taking notes. Like if you're talking too fast, I don't write the point that you made. I try to write literally, and then I get lost in how fast they're talking that I write half sentences. And so one of my accommodations was I could have a note taker who was just another law student, volunteering their time or getting paid for it, who would take notes for me. And that's super helpful, especially if that person is good at taking notes. I just secretly recorded all of my sessions. I wasn't supposed to, but fuck it. I didn't share them with anybody. I didn't give them away, but I really suck at taking notes. Like I try to type out shit. That's whatever. We're moving on. So I can't really give my opinion on the non-medicated experience for law school, but I can give it for high school and college. And I will say super doable to do natural supplements when you're in high school and college. I've had pretty hard classes. Oh, I mean, I was a comm major, but I mean, maybe I should take that out. Maybe I should not give myself that much credit. But I feel like college was really easy. And I think they say that in law school orientations is like, you were probably the type of person who found school to be very easy, found college to be very easy. Law school is not that experience. So buckle up because you're in for a ride. And I agree with that statement. Law school was, I'm kind of passive about talking about law school, and most people are like, girl, your head was in a book for 3 years. What do you mean you didn't try that hard? Like, I was like, I don't feel like it was that hard. And they're like, or I feel like I didn't work that hard. And then I look back on it, I go, oh yeah, I had to work really hard for that degree. And I had to work really hard for the bar. I found such a regimen and a routine in doing it that it didn't feel like I killed myself. But where I fucked up, I think, on the back end was not really regulating myself, not taking breaks. But I feel like if you have... How did I get 4 minutes already? 6 minutes. All right. We're just going to get to the meat of it. I feel like if you can, I would go without stimulants as long as possible. That is just me. If I could go back in time, I would, but I would try. You have to do something else. And whether that's combining it with physical activity, meditation, I feel like us ADHDers need something to regulate our brains because our brains are working in a different manner than normal people's brains. And so if you're not going to do stimulants, again, talk to your doctor, talk to a psychiatrist, don't rely on me. But if it were me going back in time, I would not be on stimulants. And that's just because when I realized long term in my life, later down the line, when I'm 50 years old, how am I going to be feeling when I'm on it? And am I going to be so reliant on it in the future that I'm just never going to be able to get off of it? And I feel like the long-term fatigue that comes with my medication is so extreme. And I noticed it after I took the bar. Like, I actually noticed it after the first week of law school. And like, my sleep had changed. It was my sleep is still fucked up. It's harder to wake up in the morning because I feel like I'm running on all cylinders and the Adderall is running on all cylinders, that it's harder for me to wind down at night and then pick back up in the morning. And then it becomes this vicious cycle of being tired all the time and just amping myself up with the stimulants, that it just cannot be good for my brain and my body. And it's so like hippy-dippy of me to be like, there's no way that this can be good for my brain, but I can feel it. Like, I can physically feel my body's reaction to literally being on drugs for my whole life, half of my life. So about half of my time of my life has been on medication. Half of it has been off. And I feel like the times where I have been the most creative, the most myself, the most grounded has been off my meds, shockingly enough. And I kind of regret taking it in law school because it put me back into a pattern of feeling like I'm dependent on it. And like, even weaning off of the extended release and then weaning my dosage down was a task. And each one of those was like a 6-month period of just like going back and forth and like feeling like I needed it and taking it back and then undoing it. And then there being Adderall shortages. And I was just like, I can't be reliant on this stupid little pill anymore. I don't want to be. And so I feel like the supplements is the way to go. L-theanine, that one's my diehard. I mentioned it. Bill Cott tried it on this podcast live and immediately felt better. It just takes a little bit of the chatter away. L-theanine is a chemical compound found in green tea. It's a green tea extract, essentially. Saffron, generically speaking, there is one in particular supplement that is a compound of things that has serotonin, 5-HTP, a little bit of GABA. I'm going to have to pull them up. I already know how it looks if I were to go. I have 20 bottles of supplements, and depending on how I feel during the day, I take them or I don't. And so I just know I'll look crazy if I bring them out. I definitely do think supplements are the way to go. If you're watching this, you're not sure how to fix your ADHD or like what's going to help you, I do have some basic tips that you might not find meds to be necessary if you do these things. And I have said this before, and if you go through my previous solo episodes, you'll notice some common themes in the things that I say about the things that will help your ADHD from an ADHDer herself. These are in no particular order. These are just off the top of my head. And this is kind of fun. I kind of like this. I kind of like it. The first one being physical activity. I think as ADHDers, we need to move our bodies and our brains. And for me, if I don't dance, that's why I dance so much. And I haven't been doing it as often as I should. And it's probably why I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. The brain body synchronicity always tends to align itself when we are physically moving our body and physically exerting ourselves. And so for me, it's a must. Whether it's stretching, whether it's breathing, whether it's getting just a minor daily walk in, whether it's dancing, do it. Whatever it is, get your physical activity in. And again, it doesn't have to be super strenuous. If you're like me, I go hard. It's all or nothing all the time. It's either I am dancing and working out 5 days a week, or it's I'm not doing anything ever. And it's hard to find the healthy medium. But when I do, it's very nice. So physical activity is one thing in addition to the supplements. Getting sunlight, drinking your water. I feel like for me, my biggest thing is getting up and having my coffee first thing in the morning. And I don't know if that'll ever change. I'm going to try. Maybe not. I like having my coffee first thing in the morning, but breakfast is probably the most crucial thing. And I've tried to make it a point every morning because I am not somebody that just goes for breakfast. I go for my coffee, and that's usually it until lunch. And I've realized eating food in the morning really helps me, especially with medication and especially with stimulants. I feel like it's so crazy because stimulants make us not hungry. And so we don't want breakfast. But the one thing that the stimulant needs, otherwise we're crackheads, is food. And so I make sure, recently I made sure is it already time? This motherfucker. Some bullshit. Now I'm anticipating the beep. Smoking. Eating breakfast. Eat your breakfast today, folks. Protein, protein, protein. None of the fucking Frosted Flakes bullshit. It's gotta be eggs, bacon. You can have a little bit of toast, but don't go crazy. No sugars. I can't even turn it off. I just gotta let it beep. No refined sugars. I'm super big on Costco has these egg bites that I have fallen in love with. They are my new favorite with a little bit of hot honey on them. My favorite. Keep it high protein. I feel like the ADHDers need to have less refined sugar, more protein. Otherwise, like I get very fatigued again with the stimulants. Another thing I didn't realize about the stimulants is I can't have orange juice. Did you know that? It deactivates and cancels out the Adderall. And I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Oranges in the morning, probably a bad idea, but I think a little bit of grapefruit probably wouldn't hurt. Who the knows? I can't tell the difference anymore. I've been on it for so long. Meditating. It is the one thing that I struggle to do on a daily basis. But when I need it, it is there for me. And I am always so much more calm when I meditate. And I don't even know this. I know this because people tell me how I feel and look after I meditate, which is crazy that I don't feel a difference, but people see a difference, which in turn makes me think, okay, maybe I am a little bit happier after I meditate. And so, I've officially crashed out. What time is it? The Adderall is officially worn off. I've gone bye-bye. But this one was just a quick one because, medication journey. Wow, Jen, what a long-winded way to get back to that. I am malfunctioning right now. I am C3POing down. This is not good. If you are on stimulants, talk to your doctor about seeing what options you have about turning the dosage down a little bit if you want off. If you're like, I'm on my Adderall or my Vyvanse, and that's the other thing I didn't realize about Adderall and Vyvanse. It feels like I'm not taking anything recently. Since the shortage, I feel like there's some placebo effect going on. I feel like none of my medication is medicating right now. And that could be, I've been on it for so long, I've just completely shot my nervous system to a point where it doesn't even recognize when I'm on medication or not. Or they're just putting sugar in pills and giving it to us. Had a side thought and my recommendation, if you're on stimulants, you want to get off of it. Talk to your therapist, talk to your psychiatrist, talk to your doctor and say, what do I got to do to take this back a notch? But also, I don't want to lose my job or fail on my classes. So how do we do this in a way that isn't going to cost me everything in my life? If you can't cut it back, you can also take half. And that's one thing that my therapist reminded me of, that I was like, oh, I can take half. I don't have to take the whole pill, you know? And so if you have your pills and you're just like, I'm not feeling it today, especially on the days that you're not doing a whole lot, on your non-productive or your weekend days, take half and just see how you feel. And if you're not sure, you're nervous about it, I'll be right here for you to refer back to this video. I've tried it before. Try it on a day that maybe you're not having to do a whole lot and see how you feel and write it down. And when you're nervous about it, go back and be like, oh, I didn't feel that bad. Or, yeah, I need to figure out a long-term plan for this. But as far as the supplements go, I'd get one supplement, and maybe I will just include a couple of them below in the description bar. Order one of them and try taking just one of those for 2 weeks, regularly every 2 weeks, and see how you feel. And that is literally how I got on my supplement journey, was taking one thing at a time on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes you fuck up and you forget to take it, or you miss a couple days at a time. I think the important thing is to just keep trying on the medication front, or the supplement front. I misspoke. Taking I almost did it again. Taking the supplements and just trying and trying and trying again until you get into a pace of making it a habit and a routine. Start there. You don't need to start all at once by taking 20 different types of supplements at a time. Just try them once at a time. Take it a day at a time. And I think you'll be good. But once again, I think the most important thing out of my non-medication journey, and what I think you should take away from all of the things that I said today, is just give yourself grace today. And it's not going to be all fixed overnight, and it's not going to be fixed in 2 weeks. And I think the most important thing to focus on is just managing the stress that comes with having ADHD, and just managing your expectations a little bit, because it's all going to get figured out and it's all going to be okay. And if you watched this episode, you did something. So give yourself a little check mark for doing something productive for the day. And if you've made it through these particular episodes, which I feel some type of way about, which I haven't really talked about, and I think it's taken me 2 years to get to this fucking point, and that's okay. That's another lesson learned, is just like, this shit takes time. And sometimes it's taken me getting out of my own way, interviewing other people and seeing them talk, to figure out what I really wanted to talk about and how I really wanted to talk about. And so last year, what's funny is I wanted it to be on Mental Health Awareness Month. And so last year I was like, fuck, I missed it in May. I'm just going to wait until next May, which is so stupid because I could have done it literally in any other month. But now we're here and it's May. And so I'm glad I did these. And I hope if you watched all of these, I hope they help you a little bit. If there's something you want me to elaborate on with a more organized structure, I will try. Can't make any promises. Let me know. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like if you liked it. Leave a comment with your best ADHD hacks. And I will see you guys next week.
Yeah, I got the juice like a snow cone. Ice in my veins and a cold flow. I'm getting cash overseas by the boatload. You wanna ride my wave? That's a no-go. Senorita's going loco.